This is all about love. It's about our health. It's about our community.
Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He has trampled out the vision where the lightning and swift sword. He has loosed the faithful lightning of its terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
I just want to say I love you.
We love you too. We love you.
We're out here downtown today celebrating the completion of 4 projects that were voted on during our Downtown Decides participatory budgeting process. And we're riding a bike from one location to the other to do a ribbon cutting in each of the 4 transportation projects. Some of the projects we're celebrating today are new bike lanes in the Central Business District, the painting of an island in the middle of the road yellow so people can see it, and some new trash cans in the Sweet Auburn corridor. This is the direct result of citizens participating in this program. This is the first time we've done participatory budgeting in Atlanta, and it puts the power directly in people's hands on how tax dollars are spent, and we're just thrilled with the response and the success of the program so far.
Chastain Park is the largest park in the city of Atlanta. This is the last piece of the Chastain Park path, and it's taken over 25 years since it began, and we are here at a groundbreaking to celebrate this last piece getting ready to start. You know, the phrase, it takes a village. Well, it certainly takes a village here. There have been lots and lots of organizations who have helped make this happen. I think there are over 500,000 people and probably about 250,000 dogs that use the path each year. It's an asset that is used by many, many people, from young people walking along to people on bikes to people running and exercising and folks coming after work to enjoy a stroll in the park. And the path has really been a catalyst for revitalizing the park, and so lots of park partners here today with NYO and the horse park and the pool, and it's a wonderful time to celebrate together.
One, two, three, cut.
Hooray!
Yeah. This is called Centennial Yards, formerly the Gulch, and of course this whole development was passed in 2018 by the Atlanta City Council. So this is one of the first pieces of development. There's about 15 different parcels that will eventually be developed over the next 10 to 15 years. So the first portion here is at Ted Turner Drive and Peter Street, which is in the Castleberry Hill neighborhood. And there's 162 apartments that have been rehabilitated to its natural historic beauty. So this is an old building that was probably built somewhere around 1910. There are studios and 1- and 2-bedroom apartments. So this development is actually the gateway to further development in Southwest Atlanta. Castleberry Hill has really been flourishing along with other areas in Southwest Atlanta. We're just very excited about the development that's happening in this area. It's going to anchor this end of the lower end of downtown Atlanta from Marietta Street, coming back to Castleberry Hill and going further southwest. So this is something that's very exciting, and we're looking forward to more development that will take place.
We're here today at the Maggie Russell Tower to help to provide, along with our partners GenCare and their Executive Director, Councilwoman Carmelita Gum from South Fulton, 80 COVID-19 vaccines for seniors who are here in the building. There are over 400 residences in the Maggie Russell high-rise, but there are about 80 folks who had not received their COVID-19 vaccines. So a lot of the seniors, aren't mobile, meaning they may not have a car or access to transportation, to help them to get vaccinated, to protect them and others who already have been vaccinated in the building from the scourge of COVID-19. It is still important to adhere to the CDC guidelines so that we can beat this pandemic. We are so close to the end of it. Millions of adult Americans have been vaccinated, but we need every American to step up, get a shot in the arm, because it protects yourself, it protects others, it protects our community. The city of Atlanta is still in phase 2. We would like to open up. We can't do so until we have the results in the broader community that our infection rate is beneath 5%, that people are still wearing masks and socially distancing, that everybody is getting vaccinated. The more we do that, the quicker we can go back to normal.
Today we're here for an unveiling. We're unveiling an urban farm, one of the biggest urban farms that will be based here in District 3. And we're here to address the food insecurities that this district has faced for decades. And I think what's so innovative about this idea is that we've partnered with Washington High School, with Greenleaf Farms. We're going to be partnering with the American Heart Association to bring together an ag STEM program that's going to cultivate new, young, fresh blood in urban farming that's going to really be focused on how we can move together as a community in addressing food insecurities within Atlanta. It is time that we take action in our own hands and we start cultivating innovative opportunities like an urban farm, like a grocery retail model where we can pipeline produce into the communities and really help lift up and support our residents.
The Atlanta City Council adopts a resolution urging Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms' administration, the Fulton County Commission and Chairman Rob Pitts, and Fulton County Sheriff Patrick Labatt to conclude their negotiations concerning the proposed letter of intent outlining how the City of Atlanta could temporarily utilize the Atlanta City Detention Center as a location to provide additional programs and services in collaboration with Fulton County and other partners by no later than May 31st, 2021. The legislation states that if there is no conclusion to the negotiations by May 31st of this year, an Atlanta-Fulton County Joint Committee will be established to assess and provide recommendations regarding justice reforms. The Council approves 2 legislative items that will activate 4 sites of public land for use as affordable housing. 3 of the properties are lots slated for development as single-family properties, and 1 is a 0.9-acre lot across from Atlanta City Hall to be developed as mixed-use infill housing in conjunction with Invest Atlanta. The Council greenlights an ordinance amending the city's charter to designate the 2 youth-serving organizations that will each appoint a member between 18 to 30 years old to serve on the Atlanta Citizens Review Board. As a charter change, 3 readings are required to adopt the ordinance. This is the final adoption in full council. The Atlanta City Council says yes to an ordinance amending Section 130-82B of the Atlanta Code of Ordinances related to a waiver of the $88 fee for recycling services so that seniors aged 65 or older earning less than $25,760 of income are eligible for an exemption of the fee. The Council greenlights an ordinance ratifying the mayor's executive order allowing outdoor gatherings of up to 9,999 persons that are in accordance with permits issued by the city if the gatherings occur in compliance with the COVID-19 mitigation requirements set forth in the COVID-19 Special Events Permit Overlay. For more recently approved legislation, please visit our website, citycouncil.atlantaga.gov. This has been your Atlanta City Council Legislative Minute.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Transportation Committee meeting here for the Atlanta City Council. I have the pleasure of serving as your chairman. I'm Andre Dickens, and we hereby call this meeting to order for May 12, 2021. Ms. Culandini, do you mind doing a roll call vote?
Councilmember Amir Antonio Brown. Councilmember Antonio Brown. Councilmember Amir Farouki.
Here.
Councilmember Jennifer Ide.
Here.
Councilmember J.P. Matsakite. Councilmember Marcy Collier Overstreet. Present. Councilmember Matt Westmoreland.
Here.
Thank you. We have 5 members present.
So we have 5 members present. I thought we were missing. Okay, yeah, we have 5. All right. Now, thank you, members, for being present, and if others were to join, we will add them in. Now, let's read the remote meeting statement. Ms. Palladini.
Yes, Mr. Chair. This Transportation Committee meeting is being conducted remotely as advertised and as in accordance with OCGA 50-14-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert's Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the City Code. The public may access the meeting by dialing 877-579-6743, conference ID 831-599-1256, which was noted on the May 7, 2021 public meeting notice. The public may also view the meeting on Channel 26, the Council's homepage at citycouncil.atlantagA.gov, the Council's YouTube channel, or the Council's Facebook and Twitter pages via @ATL Council. All presentations are available on the Atlanta City Council Transportation Committee presentation page. The agenda was published and made available on May 7, 2020 via atlantacitga.iqm2.com. In addition, the public was able to submit comments via voicemail at 404-330-6059 between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. the day before this meeting. All persons present on the remote council meeting conference bridge are requested to mute your phones and speakers. Additionally, speakers must be acknowledged by the presiding officer prior to speaking. Each council member is requested to open your Outlook email and minimize the screen. Amendments, substitutes, and informational documents have been distributed to committee members beforehand. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
Good. Thank you for reading that in. Before we get too far into the meeting, I did want to take a moment to pay a tribute to a city council member, a former city council member, C.T. Martin. C.T. Martin served as the transportation chairman for many, many years on council. And unfortunately, C.T. Martin passed away this Saturday that just passed. Many of us remember him as being a good man, a good, humble spirit, a public servant for many, numerous years, someone who just always had the community at mind. And his time as the transportation chairman, I served with him for 4 years, and he was always, supportive of the community's wishes regarding, what the sidewalks or needs that they had. I think he was one of the first people to have a complete street. If you look at Lyndhurst, that's in Southwest Atlanta in his district, Lyndhurst connects 2 schools together, and he has one of the first complete streets.
This is all about love.
Was greater
it's about
making
our
sure
health.
that our airport
it's about our
and the
community.
And taxis and all of the operations of the airport were
have seen the glory
and always with making sure that minority participation, small business participation, good leadership occurred at the airport. The taxi drivers, had their voice and being heard through C.T. Martin. So I observed him and watched him for many, many years. He was even instrumental in getting the airport, the Maynard Jackson's honor to being naming being added to the airport. So it's Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport. So I just want to take a pause as we get ready to send him off in a farewell. A number of services are planned for this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's for those to find, a way to celebrate his life. But right now, as a transportation committee, I would ask now for a moment of silence for a city council member that was a great stalwart over the transportation committee. So let's take this moment of silence. Thank you very much for that. Now, I will need a motion to amend the agenda to accept a walk-in paper, and we will need electronic votes on this. So I make a motion to amend the agenda to accept the walk-in. Is there a second?
Second, Overstreet.
Okay.
The vote is open.
Okay.
Will everyone please vote?
Ms. Ives, are you able to vote online, or do you need to do a voice vote? Oh, voice
I need
vote.
to voice vote right now, and I'm working on it. I'm a yes.
Okay. Thank you.
The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been amended.
Okay, so now I make a motion to approve the agenda to adopt the agenda as amended. Is there a second?
Second, I.
All right.
The vote is open.
Mr. Faroki?
The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda is adopted as amended.
All right, now I make a motion to approve the minutes. Ms. Ives, are you second?
Second.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. The minutes have been approved.
Okay, now it's time for public comment. I think we have 5 minutes worth. Is that right, Ms. Pulandino?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's correct.
Okay.
Greetings, committee members and staff. A special greetings to you citizens and voters of Atlanta monitoring your government in action this election year. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. How can it be that Jay's Car Wash can set up shop on Campbellton Road without the knowledge of the residents of the Campbellton Cascade community, while Ricardo Jacobs and the NPUR 9 brag about investing Southwest Atlanta and boast about the Campbellton Road Tax Allocation District and bluster about the Campbellton Road Business and Merchant Association? I say invite the owners of Jay's Car Wash to an NPUR membership meeting, and I don't mean to one of those secretive zoning committee meetings led by Renette L. Scott, Paulus Clare, and their cohorts. The federal government plans to spend millions of dollars on infrastructure, roads and bridges and overpasses and underpasses and belt lines. Will residents of neighborhood planning unit R be able to have a discussion about these transportation matters at an NPUR meeting? No, because NPUR does not have and has never had a transportation committee. As previously reported, the NPUR 9 will not allow the Campbellton Road Phase 3 improvements and amenities to appear on the NPUR agenda that just might attract some members to NPUR meetings. Do not expect the NPUR 9 to do anything that might draw some of the 20,000 residents and stakeholders to NPUR meetings. To counteract the NPUR 9 restrictiveness, there is an urgent need to enact stronger citizen participation legislation. May all be reminded, however, any attempt to increase citizen participation at NPUR will be met with fierce resistance from the NPUR 9, Vice Chair Antonita Robinson, Paulus Clare, Ricardo Jacobs, Renette L. Scott, Alfred White, Allison Hathaway, Sherry Williams, Cheryl Brown, and the underground supporters of the NPUR 9 syndicate.
I am Brother Tony Muhammad. I am a soulful spiritual being. I am asking this Transportation Committee to recognize that last 3 years, that these teaching and farmers have served as well as Mr. Dickinson was the transportation champion. I have legislation that was passed and said that my street, Butler Road, this next tail road which I live on, will be my full service, my full traffic. I have been said by Mr. Reed that this work has been done. I was told by Mr. Dickinson, oh, I'll get that carried out to you. But you got to wait till I get the true action to do it. That's what I was told by Mr. Dickinson. And now, 4 years later, nothing has been done. This is Burton Road. You can go down Burton Road, you'll find holes in page spots from one end of Button to going to Champion Park. But I ask why, legislators, that you can't do like the NAP has done. Y'all see that your members don't want to support her. You really want to stop the jails are being operated. She want to do things that aid the members in the community. You have a lot of workforce money that wasn't appropriated and put into action. You have money coming from the federal government to help with housing for the poor and women and children. You don't do nothing to try to collaborate together to make sure resources being put among the constituencies who are the majority constituencies. And if you confuse who are the majority, look at Mr. Dickinson, look at Ms. Shepard, look at Mr. Winslow. We are the people that represent the majority. And we got few members that don't even want to stand in vindication of legislation to help the poor. We got poor Caucasians. So I'm asking you, Mr. Dixon, do right with what you wrote. Do right, Transportation Committee. We were told that you were going to pay the street. 4 years later, you still haven't got to pay. So I ask you, what can be done to get some transparency? You said you like the price of Robert Newton. You're not pricing transparency. All you're pricing anybody do. Or more out, I am Brother Anthony Muhammad. May I Nature Hotel, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto the ancestors. O Batala, O Green, Shango. My Nature Hotel.
And that concludes our public comment.
Okay. Thank you for those comments from both of you, Brother Muhammad and Ben Howard. Councilmember Brown has joined the meeting. Councilmember Brown, are you present?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right. Let's take the items that are on, let's go to the legislative items, and then we'll come back to the Transportation Department's presentation. So jump to the consent agenda, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Item number 1, 21-0-0273, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to amend the FY 2021 Airport Renewal and Extension Fund, Airport Passenger Facility Charge Fund, Airport Aviation Encumbrance Program, 2019 non-AMG GARB, D Airport PFC and Sublien Revenue Bond Fund, and 2019 D Airport PFC and Sublien Revenue Bond Fund budget by transferring to and from appropriations a total amount of $36,325,763.36 for reimbursement of the Airport Renewal and Extension Fund and $1,563,097.0 for reimbursement of the Aviation Encumbrance Program and for other purposes. And item number 2, 21-0-0274, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to extend the temporary waiver provisions of Part 2, Code of Ordinances, Chapter 22, Aviation, Article 3, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, Division 7, Ground Transportation Services, Subdivision 3, Taxi Cabs, generally, Section 22-236, Conditions for use at the airport, subsection 8, for an additional period to expire on December 31st, 2021, in response to the continued effects of the COVID-19 pandemic crisis and for other purposes.
Okay, we will accept all first reads. Thank you.
Okay, item number 3, 21-0-0220, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to enter into trail easement and maintenance agreement with the Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority for the purpose of construction and maintenance of a trail system connecting with the Path 400 trail in connection with the East Faces Ferry Complete Streets project, authorizing the mayor or her designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta to execute all documents necessary to complete the trail easement and maintenance agreement with MARTA and for other purposes.
Okay. So now let's hear from Mr. Rowan about this.
Excuse me. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Josh Rowan, Commissioner of Atlanta Department of Transportation. The description was quite complete. This is another piece of the Path 400 trail. The Buckhead Community Improvement District actually purchased easement and donated it to the city for this project. We will be responsible for maintaining it throughout the duration of the trail life. We strongly encourage approval of this one.
All right. Motion to approve. Is there a second? Brown. All right. Seconded by Brown. Let's prepare a vote.
The vote is open.
Aye is a yes.
Okay. Aye is a yes. Is anyone else voice voting?
The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 4, 21-0-0221, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to accept funding from the Georgia Department of Transportation for the Central Avenue Bridge Replacement Project, PIP 0015-295, to amend the fiscal year 2021 budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations in an amount not to exceed $6,896,000.00 to authorize the mayor or her designee to enter into agreements with the Georgia Department of Transportation for implementation of grant acceptance and participation and for other purposes.
Okay, Mr. Rowan.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This is just a quick reminder that the Central Avenue Bridge Replacement Project is actually one that's part of the Renew Atlanta bond program. The project will replace the existing viaduct that carries Central Avenue over the CSX transportation tracks downtown. It's a structurally deficient bridge. This legislation enables us to accept $6.896 million from GDOT to put towards this project. So we again strongly encourage this one for approval.
All right, motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, aye.
I can take that.
Okay. So we have aye as a second.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 5, 21-0-0222, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to ratify and extend on a month-to-month basis, not to exceed 8 months, the Technical Operations Center and Central Terminal Support Area lease agreement between Delta Airlines, Inc. and the City of Atlanta, located at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport through December 31st, 2021, in accordance with Section 2-1163 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes.
All right. BHEODARI. B, are you on the line?
Councilmember C.P. Martin.
Okay, now we have you now, B. BHEODARI, thank you for being on. You were speaking, but we couldn't hear you.
Okay, good morning, Chairman Dickens and Council Member BHEODARI, Interim General Manager. I would like to express the heartfelt condolences of the men and women of aviation and the passing of former Council Member C.T. Martin. His legacy will forever be embedded in Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport growth, and we will miss him. The Technical Operations Center is a multi-million-dollar negotiation lease that sits on 200-plus acres of airport-owned land. This TOC is the largest aircraft and engine repair facility in North America and the third largest in the world. The last lease was negotiated in 1978, and so we needed to rewrite that lease from scratch to modernize the language and comply with FAA guidelines. And this took us some time. We are asking for this extension to finalize the business terms and prepare final legislation for approval. Both the Department of Aviation and Delta Legal have approved the lease, and they signed off on it. And so this will give us some time just to complete the business term negotiation and get legislation in front of this body for approval.
Okay. All right. I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, aye.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 68 nays. This item is favorable. Items 6, 7, 8, and 10 are all papers to install always stop controlled intersections. Would the committee like to take these as a block?
Yes, please.
All right. Item number 6, 21-0-0251. An ordinance by Councilmember Cleta Winslow authorizing the mayor or her designee to make the intersections of Fountain Drive Southwest and Morris Brown Drive Southwest always stop controlled intersections, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersections and for other purposes. Item number 7, 21-0-0252. An ordinance by Councilmember Cleta Winslow authorizing the mayor or her designee to make the intersection of Muse Street Southwest and Oak Street Southwest an always stop controlled intersection, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersection and for other purposes. Item number 8, 21-0-0253. An ordinance by Councilmember Amir Arfloki authorizing the mayor or her designee to make the intersections of Irwin Street Northeast and Howell Street Northeast and John Wesley Dobbs Avenue Northeast and Randolph Street Northeast four-way stop controlled intersections, to authorize the Department of Transportation to install stop signs at these intersections and for other purposes. And item number 10, 21-0-0264, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone authorizing the mayor or her designee to make the intersection of Peyton Road Southwest and Fielding Lane Southwest an always stop controlled intersection, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersection and for other purposes.
Okay. Cotena Alexander, are you here?
I am.
Okay.
Cotena Alexander.
Go ahead.
Cotena Alexander, Atlanta Department of Transportation. All 4 of these papers are for always stop control intersections at several different intersections around the city of Atlanta. We have studied the intersections, and the intersections have met the requirements for always stop control, and we are okay with moving the legislation forward.
All right. I make a motion that we that we approve all of these items. Is there a second?
Second, aye.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 68 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 9, 21-0-0262, an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone authorizing the mayor or her designee to install traffic calming devices on Burton Road Northwest between Hedgewood Drive Northwest and Hollis Terrace Northwest to waive certain provisions of Section 138-84C of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances and for other purposes.
Cotena Alexander, Atlanta Department of Transportation. This piece of legislation waives the requirements for installation of traffic control devices on Burton Road between Hedgewood Drive and Hollis Terrace. This location will be placed on the pending installation list, awaiting the availability of funds for FY22.
Okay, I move approval.
Second, aye. The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Mr. Brown, how do you vote?
The vote is closed. 68-0 nays. This item is favorable. All right, next item is number 11, 21-R-3439, a resolution by Councilmember Joyce M. Shepherd authorizing the mayor, her designee, to apply for a fiscal year 2021 U.S. Department of Transportation Rebuilding America Infrastructure and Sustainability and Equity Discretionary Grant in an amount not to exceed $22 million and 0 cents for the construction of the Atlanta Beltline Southside Trail and for other purposes. And there is a handout in your packet with background information on the project.
Yes, please take a look at the handout. It's Jill Johnson and from the airport, not the airport, from the Beltline on the line. We should have Jill Johnson or Clyde here.
I'm here. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This is Jill Johnson with Atlanta Beltline, Inc. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you for being here.
Good, thank you. This is a resolution that seeks authorization for the Atlanta Beltline to partner with the city to apply for a U.S. Department of Transportation RAISE grant. RAISE stands for Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity. This is a discretionary grant program that you may remember from previous administrations has been called BUILD, and before that, TIGER grants to support transportation projects across the country. We are seeking up to $22 million to help construct the Southside Trail, almost 2 miles from where we're actively in construction at Pittsburgh Yards, traveling east under 7585, over Pryor Road, past Carver High School, across Milton Avenue, across Hill Street, and out to Boulevard. It will help us build a safer and more equitable mobility network in the city, and also support the city's Vision Zero policy to eliminate traffic deaths. And it will also help us work to connect more current and future job centers like Pittsburgh Yards, Lee and White, West End Mall, Murphy Crossing. So that's what the resolution does. And as we build out the Beltline, it will also include 8 connection or access points into the neighborhoods of Pittsburgh, Peoplestown, High Point, South Atlanta, Chosewood Park, and Grant Park. Thank you.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, aye. The vote is open. The vote is closed. 68-0 nays. This item is favorable. All right, next item is number 12, 21-R-3443, a resolution by Councilmember Amira Froki authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute a project management agreement with the Downtown Atlanta Community Improvement District for 10 downtown decides transportation projects, appointing the Downtown Atlanta Community Improvement District to act as the city's implementation manager in an amount not to exceed $800,000 and 0 cents and for other purposes. And there was an amendment that was just sent out that adds the funding string to the resolve clause.
Okay, I will make a motion to amend. Is there a second?
Second, Froki.
The vote is open.
Aye is a yes.
Good.
vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item has been amended.
Okay, now the amended item is before us. Mr. Faroki or Mr. Rowan?
I'm happy to present it. Thank you, Chairman Dickens. This paper is intended to facilitate the completion of remaining downtown decides transportation projects. If you all recall, a little over a year ago, using new dollars that has been dedicated to District 2 and by my predecessor specifically to downtown, we did a participatory budgeting exercise where residents proposed projects, DOT kind of vetted them, priced them, and then we sent it back out to the public to vote, and 17 projects were able to get through with that $1 million budget. 10 of them remain, so 7 of them have been completed. ADID has been a partner in this. The Atlanta Downtown Improvement District has been a partner in this. And in order to kind of continue the momentum and get these projects over the goal line quickly, we set up a framework where the DID would be the implementation agent. They would still need to adhere to any city procurement rules, but they would kind of get the work done quicker, quite simply. So that's what I'm hoping we can do, and I hope DOT is supportive of this.
Okay.
And I would move.
All right, good. So you made a motion. Go ahead, Commissioner Rowan.
I was going to say we're fully supportive of this. This is a good plan for delivering these projects.
Great,
and
great.
Councilmember Dickens, for the public is interested in knowing which projects remain outstanding. If you just Google Downtown Decides Atlanta, CAP or DID has a nice website with all the projects completed and remaining. Some of those that include are included in the remaining pile include striping some intersections to deter gridlock, the Marietta Street cycle track, Ivan Allen Jr. Boulevard resurfacing, wider sidewalks in Edgewood, some new signage on Hilliard Street, removing non-functioning pedestrian buttons at intersections, some sidewalk furniture at Auburn and Hilliard, and some traffic signal analysis. So those are some of the projects that remain that this will get completed.
Okay, great. Thank you for that explanation. And so you've made the motion to approve as amended. Ms. Ide, would you like to make the second?
Yes, second.
Okay. All right, let's prepare to vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable as amended. Our next item is number 13, 21-R-3450, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute a lease agreement with the United States of America for the K9 Magazine pad land lease at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport and for the purposes.
All right. Airport is BHEODARI still on?
Yes, sir. BHEODARI, Interim General Manager, seeking approval to lease 500 square feet of bunker space to the TSA for storage of K9 training materials. The lease term will be for 5 years.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Faroki.
The vote is open.
Ide is a yes.
The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Our next item is number 14, 21-R-3451, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to apply for and accept a grant from the Bloomberg Philanthropies Asphalt Art Initiative on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation in the amount of $25,000.00 for the purpose of funding an artistic tactical walk lane on Boulevard Granada and for other purposes.
Okay. Let's hear from COTENA Alexander or Josh Rowan.
Mr. Chair, this is Josh Rowan. This is in partnership with the Pillar Foundation. It would be similar to some of the COVID activities we did where we applied for grant through Bloomberg. The funding would actually go to the Pillar Foundation for implementation. We would provide technical support. Bloomberg has been actively promoting their asphalt art program, and we'd like to participate in that. So we recommend for approval.
All right, move approval. Is there a second?
Second, Overstreet. The vote is open. The vote is closed. 68 0 This item is favorable. Our next item is number 15, 21-R-3452, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta to execute an encroachment agreement with 99-125 Spring Street, Atlanta Owner LLC for the purpose of installing 13 soil nails tieback rods into the Ted Turner Drive right-of-way for the purpose of preparing the foundation of a new bridge to replace the old Nelson Street Bridge located between 99 Ted Turner Drive and 125 Ted Turner Drive, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30303, and for other purposes.
COTENA Alexander, Atlanta Department of Transportation. The purpose of this legislation is to grant 99 through 125 Spring Street an encroachment agreement to install 13 soil nail tieback rods into the Spring Street right-of-way. The installation of the tieback rods is needed to stabilize the soil during the excavation activities for the foundation construction for the new bridge to replace the old Nelson Street Bridge. The Nelson Street Bridge will connect Ted Turner Drive to the intersection of Nelson Street, Elliott Street, and Chapel Street. We have reviewed all the documentation and request moving forward with this legislation.
Okay. All right. I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Overstreet. The vote is open. The vote is closed. 68 0 This item is favorable. Our next item is number 16, 21-R-3453, a resolution by Transportation Committee on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to correct Resolution 18-R-3636 adopted by the Atlanta City Council on June 4, 2018, and approved by operation of law on June 13, 2018, by deleting the incorrect funding source and replacing it with the correct funding source and for the purposes.
Okay, Mr. Rowan.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Josh Rowan, Commissioner Atlanta DOT. This is some corrective legislation on the Spring Street Bridge project. We are, as we work to complete the project, there's just some cleanup we have to do to make sure our folks who provide services are getting paid from the proper account. So we recommend this one for approval.
Okay. All right. I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Baroque.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 68 0 This item is favorable. We have one held item. It's item number 26, 21-R-3320, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to execute an agreement for ISC-C-121-0153 runway 10 glide slope and safety area improvements at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport with C.W. Matthews Contracting Company, Inc. on behalf of the Department of Aviation at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport in an amount not to exceed $5,892,988.00. All services will be charged to and paid from the account numbers as listed herein and for other purposes, and the department has requested that this item be filed.
Okay. All right. I make a motion to file. Is there a second?
Second Overstreet.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item will be filed. We also have a walk-in.
Well, actually, Ms. Fulandini, Mr. Faroki is asking regarding item number 25, 21-0-0207 to pull that off of Hill.
Okay, I'll read it in. 21-0-0207, an ordinance by Council Members Madeline M. Archibong and Amira Faroki, authorizing the temporary closure of Edgewood Avenue Northeast and Southeast between Boulevard Northeast and Jackson Street Northeast to automobiles as defined by this ordinance on Friday and Saturday nights to improve pedestrian mobility and public safety for the businesses and residents of the area, authorizing the use of barriers to prevent automobiles through traffic, waiving the provisions of City Code Section 142-85, requiring street and sidewalk closure permits, and for other purposes.
Mr. Faroki?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Dickens. Many of you may know by experience or by legend that the Edgewood corridor is one of our more vibrant nightlife districts. It stretches for a few blocks, but one of the more dense blocks is the block of Edgewood between Boulevard and Jackson Street. And for a number of years, especially in the summertime, crowds really flock to the area. In the past couple of years, we've had problems with cars doing car tricks and broader kind of vehicle kind of cruising and kind of disruption in ways that make it relatively unsafe for patrons, which I would note is kind of somewhat unique in the city in that it's truly a kind of multiracial nightlife district. And the sidewalks in this part of the corridor are quite narrow, so folks end up walking in the street, and in an effort to try and make it a little bit safer and also promote kind of a pedestrian block through here on summer weekend nights. Councilmember Archibong and our districts split the street, or the street splits our districts. I have heard from area businesses and business associations, stakeholders for a number of years on wanting to get this done. So we wanted to kind of push this through before Memorial Day weekend comes, which is when things really start to flourish on the corridor, and would appreciate the committee's support on moving this off of held and then hopefully voting it through to full council. So I would move that we move this from the held status.
Okay, all right. Well, it's Ms. Fulandini, is it automatically we can move it from held? We could just make motions to approve at this point, or do we have to vote to move it out from held?
It's been read in, so the committee can make a motion to approve now. There's no need to vote to remove it from held.
Okay.
Well, I would move to approve.
Okay. We have a motion to approve by Faroki. Is there a second?
Mr. Chair, may I make a comment, Mr. Chair?
Oh, sure.
I'd just like to reiterate the comments I made the last time around. The idea of having our crews out at 2 in the morning in the middle of the crowd that's going to be there to remove barricades it's going to be extremely dangerous. I don't think this in and out nature of the road closure from a logistical perspective is going to be as simple or as safe as it might seem. I'm extremely concerned about not only the safety of my own team, but just the safety of the people who are out. If you imagine heavy equipment moving back and forth, picking up, 1-ton barricades, this is not a simple effort to close it and open it back up. So I would ask that, that be considered into this decision.
Okay. Mr. Faroki, what are your thoughts to that?
Yeah, I understand Commissioner Rowan's concerns. I would rebut that I think there's a number of ways we can approach this. I don't think the barriers have to be removed right at 2 a.m. They can be done at 6 a.m. We can work through that. I also think that, as we've seen in many other cities and nightlife districts around the country and around the world, barricades are one way to do it. I think there's other approaches to doing so that aren't as machine intensive. And I'm happy to work with DOT along with the stakeholders to look at ways to do this safely and effectively. I'm sure Councilmember Archibong is as well. Then I would just encourage us to be a little creative in this in ways. I know you have your DOT has its kind of standards and restrictions, but I think there's a number of ways we can probably approach this that work well for this block and to keep everyone safe, both patrons and city staff. And I'm happy to work with DOT over the next few weeks to get this ready for Memorial Day.
Okay. I have Marcy Collier Overstreet has her hand up.
Thank you, Chair. I have a couple questions because I want to make sure that we're doing what's best for that district as well as for the city. So can we amend this paper with whatever agreement you all come up with? Because I don't want to be unsafe to our public employees, as Commissioner Rowan just enlightened us with it. But at the same time, I definitely want to have the council members weigh in on what they'd like to see in their community. So Councilmember Hiroki says that he will work with the ATL DOT to make sure that it's something that's safe for them. Like, how long do you expect for that to happen? The conversations to come up with something that is safe, Commissioner?
Yeah, I really can't render an estimate on that. We want to follow standard industry practices for road closure, which will require we host a detour. We have to install multiple lane closures, have to close multiple left turn lanes to keep traffic off of this area. So it's I'd be curious to see how these other cities are doing it and protecting the patrons from cars barreling through the area.
Okay. So you, at the moment, you can't come up with any kind of amendment. Do you think you'll be able to do a little research and circle back with us? Because I'm just trying to figure out what my vote will be today on this right now. And I do know that sometimes, all districts are different, and sometimes we do have different needs in our district. And I don't want to not look at a way to make this happen. So I want to make sure that we, provide every opportunity to see what we can do to get this done for them. But this legislation is not stating what that opportunity could be. If this is not the correct way to do it, I just want to make sure that we're clear about what the correct way is and that is legislated.
Well, to your point,
what I'm saying?
I do. To me, it's more of a logistical issue. It's the road closures take more time than people envision, and so Councilmember Hiroki said something that I think we could work around, which is, the legislation says the road to be open by 6 a.m. If we could start the removal at 6 a.m., that's a much bigger difference than having everything out and signs covered by 6 a.m. So I would say we start by looking at relaxing some of the time requirements in this. The other thing I would look at is, if the goal is for Memorial Day, why not close it for the entire weekend?
Okay. Well, so why don't you guys work on this for a couple days or through the weekend to come up with some different verbiage in the legislation so that I will have no unreadiness, because I don't want to go against protocol and what is safety measures for the city. But I do want to accommodate the need for them to have this block the way they like to have it, but safely. So I think I'll be abstaining right now just so we can work on it and revisit it on Monday or hold it. I'm not sure what the pleasure is of the council members. Councilmember Faruqi?
Well, let me.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
No, go ahead.
Thank you, Councilmember Overstreet. Mr. Faruqi wants to respond, and I think I have a suggestion, but it may be similar to the suggestion he's going to make. Go ahead, Mr. Faruqi.
Go ahead, Chairman Dickens. I'll defer to you, and then I'll respond.
Yeah, is it possible that we approve it on condition that you guys, over the next few days between now and Monday, that y'all settle on the date and time parameters to this so that everyone is comfortable with how staff can achieve the goal? Is that something you can live with?
That's certainly something I can live with, and I was going to propose something along those lines. So I would ask that we move forward with that condition, and I will circle up along with Councilmember Archibald and Commissioner Rowan and anyone else from ATL DOT and/or APD that needs to be brought in, so we can make it sure that one, ATL DOT staff are obviously safe, but that it's done in a way that's not overly cumbersome and too intensive on the staff to kind of set this up and take it back. I mean, there's a number of ways we can approach it. And I think even in a short-term time frame, we can do it. So yes, that would be I agree with that recommendation, Chairman Dickens.
Okay, good. Mr. Rowan, can you guys accept that and work over the week or so?
Most definitely. We can do that.
Okay, good. All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve on the condition that the Department of Transportation and the council members on this legislation meet out to decide what times and dates to make this operational change. Is there a second?
We also.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Ms. Overstreet?
Yes, we also need to change some of the mechanics of how we're going to accomplish it in the paper before. Also, the Commissioner Rowan stated some of the processes, some of the ways to accomplish the street closure was not exactly how they would do it. So we also need to amend the paper to include that, the safety measures.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's all part and parcel. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, no, that's good. So what I'll do is I'll make my motion, remake it to say that it's on condition that they just get together to discuss the operational aspects of it. And that, as you mentioned, Ms. Overstreet, will consist of what barricades or items they use to do that, and then also the dates and times. So they'll just get together to go over it all.
Sounds good.
Okay, so that's my motion. Is there a second?
Second, Rip.
Okay. Let's prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable on condition. And we have the walk-in paper, which is in your packet. It is a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or her designee to consent to the assignment of 4 City of Atlanta contracts with McCarthy Improvement Company to C.W. Matthews Contracting Company, Inc., and execute the appropriate documents to amend the contract and consent to assignment for construction projects being performed at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport and for other purposes.
General Manager BHEODARI.
BHEODARI, Interim General Manager. Department of Aviation recommends approval of the consent for city contracts, assignment from McCarthy to C.W. Matthews, with C.W. Matthews meeting all conditions for contractual requirements. We don't see any issue with this assignment of McCarthy asset to C.W. Matthews.
Thank you. Council members, we have done this before. I don't know if you remember, maybe last year, another company bought another company or bought the assets of a company. So this is just assigning our paperwork to match up with that new ownership model. So I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, everyone found the mute button at the same time.
That was I as the second.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. And that concludes our legislative items. This is Councilmember Winslow. I came in about 5 minutes after. Good morning. So I came in about 5 minutes after the committee meeting started, and I had the items 6 and 7. So I didn't know if those were held because you didn't know I was on the line or what happened.
Oh, sorry, Ms. Winslow. Yeah, we actually approved those items.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, Sophia Alexander came on and explained what was needed, and we all said yes to it.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Alexander. I appreciate that, and thanks to the committee members. Thank you, council members.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
That's all I had. Okay, all right, appreciate it.
Right,
okay.
Okay, council members. Now we're going to move.
Can I say one other thing? I'm very excited about two things, and I just want to thank Commissioner Rowan for the Nelson Street Bridge development that's going to happen. The Castleberry Hill community has been seeking this bridge, walkable bridge, for probably the last 15 years. The city stopped letting traffic go on it at least that many years ago, if not longer. So that's very exciting for that area. And then for the Spring Street Bridge, I know that's been a challenge for Commissioner Rowan, but he and his staff have been stalwarts in terms of finding money and making that that project happen. So I just want to thank he and the staff for helping to move that paper forward, helping to move that project forward as we go through the year.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, they are moving forward, so I'm glad they are too. Thank you, Ms. Winslow.
You're welcome.
Okay, now it's time to move into the part where we go over our Department of Transportation quarterly report. Mr. Rowan, please take it away.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman Dickens. We provide our second report for the year, May 2021. One of the things that's interesting, just of note, is that this is actually our fourth quarter as an operational team. I think we made some decisions to start working as a DOT before all of the staff had been officially transferred. Then we saw a pandemic, and although this is the end of year one, it may feel like the end of year 10 to many people on our team. And so as we prepared the presentation, if you look at slide 2, our outline is fairly simple today. We always want to talk about safety, and we want to bring you a Vision Zero update. Betty Smoot-Madison is just doing a phenomenal job there. She'll provide that update, so if we can get Betty unmuted, that would be great. I'm going to talk a little bit about ATL DOT, more from an organizational perspective and things to come, and actually some goals that have been placed upon me by myself and even by some members of my team, and how we can best continue to position moving forward. Over the past year, we talked mostly on the financial side of the Renew T-SPLOS program, and we really want to focus in on that today. I think you're going to see a lot of progress has been made, a lot of good things are happening, so it's time to start talking about those. And also joining me today will be Jessica Fulton, who's the Deputy Commissioner over Capital Project. I'm sure many of you have met her in project-related activities, but she's going to be presenting today about the capital project side and the Renew T-SPLOS, and then we'll just do our typical what's next from DOT. And so if we have Betty on the line, let's jump in. We can move to slide 3. And Betty, if you could give us a Vision Zero update.
Sure. Hey, good morning, everyone. Betty Sneed-Madison, Mobility Planning Director with APL-DOC. As Josh mentioned, I'll give a very brief update on Vision Zero. So if we can move to slide 3. So safety continues to be the daily business and priority for APL-DOC. And we remain excited about the many things that are ongoing now, as well as the things to come in the future months ahead, as we really start to advance on our Vision Zero action plan. Next slide, slide 4. We want to always keep everyone updated on how the data is trending. So you may recall from our previous update to council where we showed this same comparison of data, 2019 traffic fatalities versus the 2020 traffic fatalities. And while we did see a decrease from 2019 where we had 73 fatalities to 2020 where we had 65, we all know that that's still too many and unacceptable losses given that these are preventable. And we sort of expected a decrease given due to COVID and being less cars on the road. We really did expect that there would be a decrease in fatalities, but we weren't sure because we know that even with less cars on the road, there's still more opportunity for speeding. So it was refreshing to see that there was a decrease in 2019 to 2020, but still unsatisfactory. Even with early 2021 conditions, we were still under COVID conditions, but it's really from now and moving forward through the rest of the year as things start to open back up and people are going back to sort of their pre-COVID routines for the most part. We really want to pay close attention to the data. And we were able to receive some first quarter 2021 data from APD that showed there's been 28 fatalities in total so far this year for the first quarter, in which half of those, 14 of those were pedestrian fatalities. And this is pretty startling given that there was only, and I hate to say only because, more than one is too many, but given that there was only 16 pedestrian fatalities in 2020, for us to have reached 14 fatalities already in the first quarter of 2021 is not a good sign. And it really shows that we are on a track to exceed the fatality numbers that we saw last year. So this is high on our radar. We're continuing to watch the data, and as well as continuing our work to deliver safety improvements and investments. And so, as Josh mentioned, you'll hear a lot about that from Jessica and then shortly. Slide 5, next slide. Again, we just want to emphasize our need and desire to center equity in our Vision Zero work. And what that means is that we really stick closely to the equity framework that we previously presented to council. And that equity framework identifies our high priority communities of concern and really ensures that we channel resources and funding and projects to those communities. And those COCs, just sort of a refresher, those COCs were identified based on numerous data indicators such as, communities with high percentages of households that had no vehicle access, no health insurance, large percentages of school-aged children and seniors, and just a number of data indicators that shows us that there's a significant reliance in those communities on transit and walking and biking. And so we just want to make sure we're elevating those communities and prioritizing them in our work. So not only does that mean that we want to prioritize them in funding and project selection, but also having very tailored engagement with those communities to ensure that we are reaching the voices that we generally don't reach with our normal engagement practices, and really working with them to identify priorities and needs. And we know the best strategy for achieving this is through collaboration, such as the work that we did with the Partnership for Southern Equity. And so just being able to continue that type of work with nonprofits and community-based organizations that really have the expertise to engage with vulnerable communities. And so again, this just remains a priority for our Vision Zero work, especially as we start working on our action plan pretty soon. Next slide, slide 6. As mentioned in our last update to council, our sign crews are still actively out doing the sign replacements for the new 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. Our crews are about 40% done. So if you live on a local street, hopefully you have seen some sign changes, and if not, then it's coming soon. We've done, our crews have been able to do quite a bit of the southeast quadrant and are working through the southwest and northeast part now. But we still have quite a bit of ways to go with our northwest. So continue to stay on the lookout for them. They are working pretty hard to get those signs replaced. And if you remember, it was about 1,000 signs that they have to replace. So it's a lot of work. We are also actively doing quite a bit of public awareness, and I do want to send a big shout out to our new Vision Zero manager, Kimberly Sargent, who has been working very hard with our communications team to get the public awareness campaign up and running related to our 25-mile-per-hour speed limits. And so a few things that we've been doing, we released a media kit to many of our partner organizations. Hopefully all of the committee members and council members have received that media kit via email. If not, just let us know and we'll make sure that we get that resent back out to you guys. But we just ask that you push those messages and content on your social media and share with your constituents so that we can really broaden the safety message and ensure that Vision Zero really starts to become a household name. You will also start to see a lot of these graphics on our social media. And again, when we post them, we actually ask that you share them on your site. You will also start to see the graphics from MARTA buses. We have that going through procurement right now. So hopefully in June, you'll start to see the 25-mile-per-hour ads on the backs of some of the MARTA buses. So we're excited about that. Also working with Channel 26 to do a PSA related to the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. And so hopefully over the summer, you'll see that video coming. Working on a safety pledge where we will ask everyone to participate in driving 25 and driving safe. And we may try to make this a little bit of a competition. So stay tuned for that as well. And then lastly, we also prepared and delivered a couple of weeks ago thousands of info cards. I believe it's probably around like 3,000 or so info cards to APD, in which they will distribute to motorists during any of their enforcement stops. And again, it's just educational materials to inform motorists of the consequences of speeding, and then even the financial consequences, such as what the amount of a ticket would be. So again, hopefully you started to see some of this public awareness, and if not, you should be seeing quite a bit of it starting in June. Next slide, slide 7. Lastly, the most exciting thing that we're anxiously awaiting to kick off is our Vision Zero action plan. And that's something we're gearing up for now. We're trying to position ourselves to be in a ready state. Honestly, the only thing that's really holding us up at this point is that we're waiting on an executed agreement between GDOT and ARC because that's where the funding for this plan is coming from. But as soon as that executed agreement is done, we essentially we'll see the green light for our work. And so we're hoping that will kick off within the next 30 to 60 days, fingers crossed. This action plan will include the foundational elements and framework for our Vision Zero program, and it will be sort of a compilation of actions and strategies for us to work on and implement over the next few years, which will include an extensive amount of public engagement, including formally kicking off our Vision Zero task force, in which we've officially reached out to those potential members. So we encourage that if you receive that email from us, that invite from us, please respond and let us know if you are securing your spot on the task force. And then, of course, the action plan will include numerous other deliverables and data analysis that will help us to drive major projects forward. So we're extremely excited about that and really hoping that we can get that kicked off very soon. In the meantime, we are planning to do an interim report that highlights all of our accomplishments to date since the adoption of Vision Zero last year. And we do want to show and highlight all of the great things that we've been able to do this past year, even without having an action plan. So we're planning for releasing that in sometime over the summer, probably late summer. So definitely many great things to come. Before I hand it back over to Josh, I did want to take a second to just acknowledge Bairn, who's on our team. She's been the chief bicycle officer for several years now. Or Councilmember Dickens, I think you lovingly called her our head scooter lady. I'm not sure if she likes that title as much, but she's going on to bigger things and will be leaving us in about a week or so. She'll be heading to NACTO, which is an organization we work very closely with. So we are looking forward to really continuing to work pretty closely with Carrie on the exciting initiatives that she will be working on with NACTO. But she's just done an amazing job managing our micromobility efforts and really just being a true leader and creating designs for safer streets, for bikes and pedestrians and all users. So just wanted to do a public congratulations to her for her new role, and we hope to continue working with her through NACTO and hopefully see her around Atlanta. And Josh, I think I'll turn it to you.
Great, thanks, Betty. And I'd like to add a little bit too. We hate losing Carrie, but to know that she's going to a position of essentially national significance, it's hard to argue with that. She's done fabulous work. We're thrilled about this opportunity for her, and to know that an organization like NACTO looked to ATL-DOT for a key member of their team, I think that just speaks highly of the work that everyone's doing, and specifically the work that Carrie's been doing. And so her influence will certainly continue to be felt long after she's gone. So I would echo those sentiments and thank her for all that she's done. So jumping to slide 8, let's talk about ATL-DOT a little bit. For those of you who enjoy organizational management, this might be a good conversation. For the rest of you, it might be time for a good coffee break. But let me jump into slide 9 with the strategic plan. It was interesting as I was prepping for this. My eye kept drifting over to the bullet points under the gray heading: ethical, transparent, and fiscally responsible government. And when you look at that list, that's really where we've been residing for the last several months. You heard Betty talking about safety, equity, and mobility, and how we prioritize projects. You're going to be hearing more about delivering transportation projects faster and more efficiently. That's going to be something that's going to be an area of focus in the next year. We've really worked hard on strengthening our regional and local partnerships. You see a slide at the end. We don't do anything without our partnerships. Even before the pandemic, we talked about using innovative tools and methods to communicate. We were kind of forced down that path, but we've learned a lot there, and I'm going to touch on a few things that have even become more apparent to the team. Make city contracts more competitive. We've really been happy in these last few months to see that we're getting more bidders. We're getting competitive pricing. Things are really moving in a positive direction there, and I think you'll see why after Jessica presents on the capital project side. And then improved departmental coordination of work in the right-of-way. This is something that's not really seen, but we've had some great success stories just in our partnership with Department of Watershed Management. And so I want to thank Commissioner Browning and her team. Just we continue to learn how to work with each other better and are solving joint problems within the right-of-way. So a lot of good success stories there, and as we continue to grow together. So we move to slide 10. This started as a hand-drawn chart by me, and it's still kind of a work in progress, and it's meant to look like a work in progress. So I took the opportunity to look at really who are the kind of the key stakeholders that we are working with as a department. And you see those on the outer edges. So the public, that's really the customer that we're dealing with. As member of the administration, we report to the mayor. We're part of the mayor's team. On the other side, council, there's a level of accountability that comes from council. We work very closely with projects in each of your districts. And then down at the bottom, we just have a placeholder for City of Atlanta because we have a number of departments from procurement to law to Office of Contract Compliance that we work very closely with. And so in the middle of this chart, you can see DOT broken up into operational teams. So at the center is the Office of the Commissioner. On either side is our Transportation Infrastructure Management, who you've heard from COTENA. Just above that, P&S is Planning and Strategy. And then to the right is our Capital Improvement. So you've heard from Doug on the planning side. You're going to hear from Jessica. Our communications folks, our finance folks, and our legislation team just do an outstanding work. And what became apparent was if you look at the interaction, there's a certain connectivity between council and the public, or between the mayor and the public. And so what we realized is that we spend a lot of time in this interaction, so this council-public interaction, and in the blue box, we're just calling it outreach for the time being. And that's where, it's really important to me that we get out and we walk projects, we walk the neighborhoods, we see things firsthand, that we listen and we work to build those relationships. And I think that's been quite positive. In fact, it's getting to a point that it's created some demand that we're having trouble meet. And so we started this past year with a pilot project with Chauncey Battle Williams and Carlos Collins, assigning them each 2 different council districts. And we want to grow this program. We really think that as we get the most work done out in the project, dealing directly with the public, dealing with the council members and their offices. And so you're going to see more from the outreach side. There's a lot of value that we've gained, a lot of just boots on the ground type information that's helpful to us as we make decisions. And then the other blue box you see is that a lot of our PMs are getting drawn into things that are more administrative. So we're looking to build an administrative team, likely have a chief of staff or chief of admin who's really focused more on our process side and how we engage with the other departments, with a goal essentially of how do we lessen the burden on the departments we interact with daily so that we can form these strong partnerships as we move forward. And so you're going to continue to see some changes in DOT. And if I may take a point of personal privilege, I'd like to say just that I'm really mad at Councilmember Antonio Brown. He made a comment back in February that I needed to get out of the minutia, and I hear it every day. And the reason I hear it every day is it was probably 20 years ago. I was on a project with 2 young engineers. It was a new service we were trying to develop, and we didn't perform very well the first day. And so I asked them at the end of the day, what do you think we could do to improve our performance, improve our productivity? And one of them looked right at me and said, if you would stay home, we could take care of this. And so I think there are some areas that through the pandemic and DOT being a first-year department, we really power lifted a lot of things. And in many areas, it's time for me to go back and be the commissioner. And so I'm gonna show some goals I have for myself that I think are gonna not only benefit our team, but benefit the city as a whole, because we've got some great people doing great work. And we're to a point now that the leadership team is in place. Our key technical professionals are where we need them. And so just know that we foresee more tweaks to the organization, but it's all for the purpose of delivering more and delivering faster. And so if we go to slide 11, these are some lessons learned as we approach the end of our year one. And keep in mind, safety will always be our business. We said that right out of the chute. Safety is our business, and that's safety on the streets and the safety of our people. I take every opportunity I can to brag about our folks, and I'm going to do that today. We really have some great people who've done everything from cleaning up after protests, to cleaning up after hurricanes, to cleaning up after tornadoes, to assisting with barricade placement for street racing. When the call comes, they respond. and they do it with a good attitude, and they do really great work. And so I'm proud of the team that we have. I do believe that our great people maybe need some better equipment. We're going to look at investing there. But when it comes to the heart and soul of your team being the people, we're in a great place. And so the second bullet point, I really believe that we're ready to go down the path of looking at in-housing more work. We have the people to do the work. It's going to take some investment, but we have the skill sets to do things like pour more concrete, do more substantive work. I especially am interested in can we stand up crews to be replacing ADA ramps? We're going to be investing in the striping equipment needed to get back on track with striping. So that's exciting, and I think we're going to see us able to do more. On the control side, if you remember back to the very first Renew presentation I did, the PIC, the Program Controls, Innovation, and Communication, we've switched everything over to more of this data management. We're looking at the XPIs of our projects. We're trying actually to apply this to the maintenance team. Are we planning our work and working our plan? And so we're putting in place a dashboard that we believe is going to help us better control our performance and monitor some of the pitfalls that may be out in the road. And so it's really, really good because now we're using data. We're using the data, our own performance data, to monitor how we're delivering projects. The fifth bullet point, and I would really take us back just a few weeks ago to the One Atlanta Light Up the Night. These citywide initiatives are very effective. Our first one out of the gate was Mayor Bottom's Action Plan for Safer Streets. We followed that soon after with Vision Zero and citywide reduction of speed limits, and now we're bringing this Light Up the Night initiative and up to about 10,000 streetlights, and that's going to benefit everybody. And so I encourage my colleagues and I encourage committee to be thinking about these type initiatives and how we can bundle projects, how we can see economies of scale. We had said to the next bullet point almost 2 years ago, our communication plan was going to be old school and high tech, and little did we know the pandemic would force the high tech. But what we're seeing is through tools like Zoom and Teams, we're able to reach a broader audience. But then just going back old school and walking neighborhoods with people, we're building the relationships. And so we tell our team that oftentimes the most important accomplishment you can have is to listen and understand what you're being told. And I'll give a shout out to the folks at Mosley Park. They hold the record, and I hope nobody's eager to break this, but they walked me for about 3 hours about a month ago. I think we looked at everything. It was a good time, but I was a little tired at the end of that effort. But we're working to help the communities help themselves, and so we've really enjoyed tremendous growth in these community relationships. I had referred to them one time as my community informants, and we do certainly learn a lot from our partners in the community. So if we move to slide 12, some things that we're going to be focused on in fiscal year 22. So we want to partner with our colleagues in innovation to look at performance-based budgeting. One of the things I learned, and I think we know this, is that things change, and oftentimes reacting takes more time than we anticipate. So we're actually marshaling our resources to be prepared that as projects are ready to go, we fund them, and not necessarily be married to a schedule. And that sounds a little odd, but you're going to see there's a lot ready to go. And so I think we're going to be more in a delivery mode and less in a scheduling mode. The other thing, we're going to be investing in training and development for our people. We have great people who are good learners, who are open to new skills, and so that's low-hanging fruit to invest in training for the team. I was surprised. I'll get the number wrong, so I won't share it, but we did a scan of how many Lean Six Sigma brown belts, green belts we have, and we actually now have a Lean Six Sigma team within DOT. We had so many, so we have quite a talented team that's rising to the forefront. The third bullet point is an area that's going to be a focus of mine, but improving project delivery. It's how do we do this faster? How do we continue to produce quality? And can we get more projects out the door? And at the end of the day, that's what this is about, is building these projects. We obviously have to plan them. We obviously have to design them and procure them. But at the end of the day, the goal is to finish the project, and that's a goal that I believe we all share. And so the question then becomes, how do we get to the finish line faster? So we very intentionally put a picture of a ribbon cutting because we'd like to see more there. I had mentioned before the investment in the public engagement side and internal administration. Those are important factors. Those are going to free up our technical teams to really focus on the project while better engaging with our internal business partners and our external stakeholders, i.e. the public. And at the end of the day, you can look at this last bullet point. We're working the plan. We're working the One Atlanta Strategic Transportation Plan, and we're making great progress. So to Councilmember Brown's comment about I need to get out of the minutia, and I'm not really mad at him, in case anybody, if you read Josh Ron's mad at Councilmember Brown, that's not true, but his comments did haunt me because they were spot on. And so one area that I'm very passionate about is leadership development within our team. I was in a meeting not that long ago and realized how many current transportation commissioners came out of one city. I'd like to have this city produce 5 or 6 transportation commissioners over the next 10 years. I think we have that level of talent on this team to do that. The second bullet point is we're in the middle of it now, developing the T-SPLOS 2.0 program. And so that's going to be something that's right in front of us. But when we talk about the needs of the city, we have to talk about how we pay for it. And the T-SPLOS is a proven tool in the state of Georgia, and it's one that we need to get much more familiar with. This third bullet point is one that I'm still relatively green, but knowing that there's an outstanding ADA lawsuit, that's something that's important to me. I've been able to dive into some of the details, starting to work with the law department, and would like to see progress there. I don't really know what progress looks like as I talk to you today, but that's just something that's so important citywide, is to have an accessible city. The fourth bullet point, you just see dollar signs. There's quite a bit of money out there. And we had been told in the past by our state partners and federal partners that if we get good at finishing projects, there will be more money for us. And so we actually have a line on some other funding opportunities that we're going to be pursuing. So you'll see me being focused more of my time on engaging with our funding partners and how do we get as much funding for our projects as we can. And then this last bullet point is a horrible acronym, DAPL. It's actually design, approve, procure, legislate, and execute. I've said for the past 2 years, we're not going to be the department that hangs our hat on the Department of Procurement, because I think it's unfair. And what's interesting, when you look at it, we actually, I think, use the word procurement in 2 different ways to mean 2 totally different things. And so when you look at this whole process, it's going to look at how we design, how we review and approve the designs, how we procure a vendor, how we legislate the contract, and then how we execute the contract. So I had a team that was involved several years back doing a similar exercise with New York City DOT, and they cut about 3 months out of the whole process. So we're looking at how can we compress that in partnership with our friends within DOP, because I think there's a lot of work we can do on the front end that then will make their lives easier. And we're prepared to make those investments to make that happen. Because again, at the end of the day, it's about getting the money for projects and spending it to deliver the projects. And so much more to come on that. But those are really the 5 areas where I'm going to be focused through this fiscal year. Again, great team in place. And so we really feel we're poised to move forward in good ways as we get into fiscal year 22. And so I'd like to hit the pause button on my comments, because it's been a while since we've done a deep dive on the Renew T-SPLOS side. And I'd like to pull Jessica Fulton in, who is Deputy Commissioner over Capital Projects. For those of you who haven't met her, Atlanta native, Georgia Tech grad, professional engineer. So glad to have Jessica on the team. And Jessica, I'm going to turn things over to you if we can get her unmuted.
Good morning, Transportation Committee. My name is Jessica Fulton, and I am the Deputy Commissioner of Capital Projects for the Atlanta Department of Transportation. It is my pleasure this morning to join you and bring you the yearly update on the Renew Atlanta Bond T-SPOS program. Slide 15, please. I begin today's presentation with an update on the Martin Luther King Jr. Complete Street Project. This project is broken into two sectors, typically identified by the type of FTA funding that they have. The first section, commonly referred to as MLK LCI, is funded as an 80-20 split by a Livable Centers Initiative grant from the Federal Transportation Administration. It runs from Northside Drive to Ollie Street and includes numerous sections of sidewalk improvements, ADA and driveway improvements, drainage improvements, traffic signal and communication upgrades, and the entire section was resurfaced. This section also includes 1.1 miles of a protected cycle track. This section is considered substantially complete and is currently undergoing punch list. Slide 16, please. Here we showcase the most recent highlight and addition to MLK LCI, Hope Moving Forward. This statute is the work of Mr. Basil Watson and honors the namesake of the corridor and Atlanta's native son, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., while showcasing his vision for America and the world. Slide 17, please. The second section of the project is the MLK Tiger section. This section is also funded by the FTA through a Tiger grant. With an estimated completion date of August 2021, MLK Tiger runs from Ollie Street to Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Like LCI, this section includes asphalt resurfacing, sidewalk, ADA, and driveway improvement, drainage improvement, and traffic signal and communication upgrades. This section also includes numerous signalized mid-block crossings, a raised perma-track boardwalk along Westview Cemetery, and a community gathering spot called Lanier Park. If the moderator would please press play, we can enjoy a brief video highlighting this section.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Did the video play?
No, the video is not playing.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. We had a beautiful video that showed you the corridor. We actually took you on a ride from Ollie Street all the way to Fulton Industrial Boulevard. That video is available on our website if you would like to see it at a later time and date. The entire slide 18, please. The entire MLK corridor is set to be filled with beautiful artwork highlighting the rich history and heritage of Atlanta. Another such piece is located at Mosley Park. Referred to as the Civil Rights Leaders, these series of 4 statues invites the community to rest and learn about the lives and contributions of 4 Atlanta civil rights leaders. These leaders include Dr. Rita Samuels, former secretary for the SCLC, and a member of President Jimmy Carter's staff when he was governor and president. The second statue is Mrs. Dorothy Bolden, who worked to fight for women's rights and bring segregation to an end. She was the founder of the National Domestic Workers Union of America. The third statue is of Reverend Hosea Williams, a civil rights leader, businessman, and philanthropist. He was the founder of the social service organization, Hosea Feed the Hungry and Homeless. The final statue is of Mr. W.A. Scott, the founder of the Atlanta Daily Word newspaper. This newspaper was the first African-American newspaper in America to achieve daily distribution status. These four leaders were not only influential in Atlanta, but made contributions that would shape America. Slide 19, please. 2 bridge replacement projects have been successfully completed over the last year. Both bridges were deemed unsafe and failing by the Georgia Department of Transportation, and the Childress Bridge was actually closed prior to construction. The Childress Drive Replacement Bridge provides a new safe passage for residents in southwest Atlanta over South Utoy Creek. Pictured here are shots of the old bridge as well as the new bridge completed in 2020. Slide 20, please. The second bridge replaced by the Renew project was the Powers Ferry Road Bridge. This bridge was also deemed as failing by GDOT. The new bridge provides safe passage for residents of Buckhead over Nancy Creek. Pictured here are pictures of the old bridge and the new. Slide 21, please. Another project successfully completed over the last year was the Local Neighborhood Improvements Project. This project included sidewalk improvements in the District 2 neighborhoods of Candler Park, Midtown, and Ponce Holland. In total, 10,952 feet of sidewalk were installed or replaced. Likewise, 21 ADA ramps were improved and made compliant. This project also paved 3rd Avenue in Council District 5 from Austin Drive to Memorial Drive. 6 additional standalone streets have also been resurfaced this year by the Renew program. These include Sunset Avenue, Powers Ferry Road, Bluefield Drive, Hemlock Circle, Collier Drive, and the intersection of Metropolitan Parkway and Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard. This year, we can tout completion of 2 traffic signal projects, the Piedmont Avenue Traffic Signals Project and the AIM Fiber Communications Project. Slide 22, please. Last year, at the start of the pandemic, we began work on the GDOT Group B project, a $20 million project done in conjunction with the Georgia Department of Transportation. This project included resurfacing of 15 local and state roads and replaced a total of 50.36 lane miles of resurfacing, 272 feet of sidewalk, and installed 44 ADA ramps. This project also installed 2.58 miles of bike lanes on Spring Street and Wyuka Road. This project was highly successful and able to take advantage of the reduced traffic volume during the pandemic. It was so successful that we were able to complete over 60% of the project in the first 4 months of construction. Slide 23, please. The Renew program has been able to assist in the implementation of the Action Plan for Safer Streets. As a holistic approach, we're working with our mobility planning team to incorporate these safety improvements on upcoming projects and projects currently under construction. To date, we have installed bike lanes on Spring Street and Wyuka Road, and we're in the process of installing and striping bike lanes on Cherokee Avenue. But this is not where our bike lanes stop. Bike lanes have also been implemented on Peachtree Center Avenue and Jackson Street as part of the Downtown Decides program in conjunction with the Atlanta Downtown Improvement District. Downtown Decides has also installed an ADA crossing at Peachtree Street and William Street, a pedestrian-only environment at Broad Street, an ADA crossing at Ted Turner and William Street, a traffic island at Peachtree Center Avenue and Portman Boulevard, and numerous trash receptacles for the Sweet Auburn area. Slide 24, please. The Renew Atlanta Bond and T-SPLOST program is a unique program in that at its inception, there were no projects with a complete design that were ready to build. Over the last 3+ years, we have worked to complete concept planning and numerous designs that will eventually be built for the residents of the city of Atlanta. Not only are we preparing projects for implementation during the current bond and T-SPLOST, we are also readying ourselves for future bonds and T-SPLOST programs. This preparation will allow us to move forward with increased efficiency while better quantifying the work needed to improve transportation for all residents in the city of Atlanta. Over the last year, 3 projects have completed initial concepts. These include DeKalb Avenue Complete Street, North Avenue Complete Street, and South Boulevard Complete Street. 24 projects, as shown here, has successfully reached substantial design completion. Of these 24 projects, 11 are currently in procurement or will be in procurement by the end of fiscal year 21. These include DeKalb Avenue Safety Improvement, MM Park Neighborhood Improvements, which has been awarded and should start construction soon, Northside Drive and Mount Parent Intersection Improvements, Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard Complete Street, Unpaved Roads Group 1, Cascade Road Complete Street, Joseph E. Lowry Complete Street, North Avenue and Somerset Terrace Pedestrian Beacon Project, Piedmont Avenue Complete Street, Piedmont Road Capacity Improvements, which will include bicycle lanes, and Path 400, Peachtree Road to Garson Drive. Slide 25, please. Over the last year, 10 projects have obtained substantial construction completion. They are listed here. As these projects reach full completion, we are working to close them out and free up any remaining funds for the council members' bond unallocated. We are excited about the Renew Bond and T-SPLOST program and the projects we are delivering to the city of Atlanta. Thank you for allowing me to update you on our last year. Commissioner Rowan, I turn it back over to you.
Awesome, Jessica. I'm sorry, my phone didn't want to unlock itself. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll touch quickly on the program financials. These are a standard collection of reports that we give. But the most important, I think, aspect to look at is the T-SPLOST collections. And we're really quite happy because April 2021, we exceeded $5 million. So we're getting back to where we were pre-COVID. We had originally estimated a shortfall. That shortfall is no longer being projected, and so we feel that the T-SPLOST collections are really in a strong place. So if we can, let's jump all the way down to slide 31, because I want to show some information that Jessica had talked about as it ties back to my comments, where we really want to start looking at project delivery, and we prepared a timeline just showing where some of these projects were, and we also are breaking this down into the phases that we're calling a trigger packaged NTP. And there are a lot of steps that are involved in this, and we're going to be baselining this process, measuring the time it takes to deliver, and working forward to really over time compress that. So let's, in the interest of time, let's jump ahead to 33, which is our what's next slide. And it really is much of what Jessica said. We've got a wave of projects moving from design into construction. We're about to see, we were very happy with the bids we've seen in the last couple of months. More competition, good pricing, which is right where we want to be. And so if we go to, I'm going to wrap this up on slide 34, because it starts to have a very familiar sound. Prioritization is a big deal for us. Doug had presented last time about a citywide infrastructure scorecard. We're still looking at how we could actually apply that same scorecard to the council districts, knowing that not necessarily one size fits all, but looking at how do we focus on the areas that are needed the most from a state of good repair perspective. Continuing to look at financing strategies, and then we're always going to be trying to advance Vision Zero. It's a long-term commitment. It's a weighty goal. It's a significant effort by the city, and we're moving in the right direction. And so with that, I'm just gonna thank our partners. We don't do any of this without them. And on slide 36, we can just park right there, because it shows many of them, from the CIDs to the state to even Georgia Tech, Georgia State. We work the neighborhood planning units. We work very closely with a number of different organizations to deliver these projects. And we certainly couldn't get this done without their collaboration and support. And so with that, let's wrap this up. I know we had gone long a couple of times in the past, so didn't want to overshoot the time limit today. So that'll conclude the presentation portion, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Hello, Mr. Rowan. My phone went dead for just a quick second.
Oh, okay. I had wrapped up the presentation and ready for any questions the committee may have.
Okay, great. Thank you. Before I go to committee member questions, I wanted to say thank you for this comprehensive report. There was a lot of things that we had asked you over the past few months, and they were all kind of included or answered in this report, so I appreciate it. Everything from Vision Zero to our Complete Street, our renewed program, etc. So it's good to hear the progress that's being made and statistics to show what we've been doing. So thank you for that. Council members, are there any questions? I had to log off for a second. My computer needed to, so I can't see your hands raised. Any council members got any comments or questions? All right. Seeing none, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Rowan and your whole team for that presentation. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any comments for the good of the order from any council members? If not, we can wrap up. Are there any final comments? Okay. All right. Well, we stand adjourned. Thank you.